So welcome everyone to the annual reenactment of the surrendering of Wyoming, presented by the 24th Connecticut Militia Regiment and hosted by the Luzerne County Historical Society. At the conclusion of our program, please feel free to ask any questions you may have. This afternoon, you will be privy to one of the most devastating moments in our valley's history. It is on this day that Colonel Nathan Denison will surrender Wyoming Valley to the victors of the Battle of Wyoming, fought the day before in what we now know as Exeter. It is July 4th, 1778. Imagine yourself inside the Fort of the 40. You are either a soldier who survived the battle or a civilian who sought refuge, along with the soldiers who remained in the fort to protect you. You are terrified and have no idea what will become of you. Colonel Nathan Denison, commander of the 24th Connecticut Militia Regiment, is awaiting the arrival of British Major John Butler and his entourage so that the surrender can be signed. At 4 o'clock p.m., the doors of the fort open, and to their dread, Major John Butler, along with his forces of British regulars, Rangers, and Native Americans, allies, as victors, enter triumphantly. As Major Butler approaches, one can only imagine the thoughts going through Colonel Denison's mind. He is hoping that the terms of the capitulation, written by Reverend Jacob Johnson, satisfy the Major. Major comes to a halt as he spies a familiar face in the crowd of refugees. This person happens to be a deserter from British Butler's forces and has trained the defenders of Wyoming. Major Butler is in full control. He is an officer and a gentleman abiding by the rules of warfare. Colonel Denison greets Butler and offers his sword, and he is told he may keep it. Both men proceed to a table where quills and ink await them and are seated. Reverend Johnson reads the terms of the capitulation, and they are agreed by both sides. Butler and his witnesses sign first, followed by a downhearted Colonel Denison along with his witnesses. Denison then asks if all is satisfactory, and Butler replies that there is only one more matter of business to take care of. Butler rises and looks at the crowd. "Boyd, is that you?" he calls out. Boyd answers, "It is." Butler orders him to stand by a nearby tree, to which Boyd complies, hoping to be treated as a prisoner of war. Butler gives a nod and who follows to one of his soldiers, who follows the hapless Boyd. Today, Sergeant Boyd will meet his fate. After the capitulation was signed, no inhabitants of the valley were killed, although Butler did warn Denison that the Native Americans wanted their spoils of war and might not be able to be controlled. The Indians proceeded to harass, rob, and destroy houses, livestock, and crops, which led to the mass exodus of the valley. It was not until October that members of the militia and others returned to the site of the battle to gather and bury the remains of the slain still lying where they fell.
Has anybody seen the Major, heard the Major, heard the Army, anything at all?
No drama.
No, sir. Brian, take the yonder over there and see if you can hear anything. Be quick about it, Private. Close?
Close by.
Reverend Johnson.
Yes.
Just making sure, Reverend. Private, Sergeant. Private. When they enter, stay on either side. I will need you as witnesses. Phil, where can he be?
Right there. It's okay.
Colonel, he's going to take as much time as he needs to.
Sir, I am commanding this unit.
It's not
Keep
up
that
to
in
you.
mind, sir.
It's not up to you. It's up to him now, unfortunately.
Stand at attention. We'll give them the respect they deserve.
Short.
Thank you, sir. Reverend, be so kind as to read the terms of the capitulation.
In Westmoreland on July 4th, 1778, capitulation made and completed between Major John Butler on behalf of His Majesty King George III and Colonel Nathan Denison of the United States of America. Article 1, that the inhabitants of the settlements shall lay down their arms and the garrison be demolished. Article 2, that the inhabitants to occupy their farms peaceably and the lives of the inhabitants preserved entire and unhurt. Article 3, that the continental stores be delivered up. Article 4, that Major Butler will use his utmost influence that the private property of the inhabitants shall be preserved entire to them. Article 5, that the prisoners in 44 to be delivered up, and that Samuel Finch, now in Major Butler's present possession, be delivered up also. Article 6, the property taken from the people called Tories upriver be made good, that they remain in peaceable possession of their farms unmolested and free trade in and throughout this state as far as lies in my power. Finally, Article 7, that the inhabitants that Colonel Denison now capitulates for, together with himself, do not take up arms during the present contest. That's it, Colonel.
Does everything seem satisfactory, Major?
Yes, it seems satisfactory this time. We'd like to have our witnesses.
Private.
You go ahead and sign.
Sergeant. Does that include our business major?
No, not exactly.
Excuse me?
I said not exactly, Colonel.
Boyd, is that you?
It is.
Take custody of that man.
Oh, wait.
Stand
wait,
fast!
Wait.
Stand fast, I said! He's no longer our concern. And he would have been shot. So